Hey guys, this is Michael with MKC Music, and today we're going to take a look at how I use metering in my mastering sessions to help me find better balance with the track, figure out what's a good loudness level, and see what is going to match from song to song as far as loudness across the album. I'm a firm believer in mastering with your ears, not your eyes, but I think these are still valuable tools that can give us some information to help my masters come out better for your music. All right, the track we're going to be looking at today is called It's Not Enough by Dustin Kensrue. It's off of his latest The Water and the Blood album. I really dug it. Troy Glessner mastered it, and I think he did a great job. So let's take a listen real quick and see what it sounds like.
It's not enough. I could right or wrong, so ravage everything beneath the sun. It's not enough. It's not.
All right. Here I have a gain plugin in the chain, and this is pretty much going to function as a mute for the audio, since I'm still going to need to fire the track to trigger the meters, but still be able to talk over it. I'm going to be using it. So the first meter I have here is Voxengo Span. Voxengo is a great plugin company, and this is also free. Gosh, it's an incredible value we get out of this plugin. Gives you lots of great information, and it's basically a spectrograph. And here I'm gonna kill the audio and fire the track. And I've basically taken their mastering preset and tweaked it a little to kind of how I like things. And I'll post a link to where you can download this. And again, you can get an audio unit, VST, whatever format you need. But here I can edit the preset. I got a nice wide window for my FFT. And I can kind of have some smoothing with the overlay. This is kind of a complicated subject as far as how they get these figures. So if you have any questions about those two kind of parameters I went over, please message me. But what you can see is I'm averaging the readout over 10 seconds. So how the audio is playing over 10 seconds is the frequency spectrum I'm going to see. Sometimes I'll move it down to 5, maybe 6, but this is my starting point. The slope of how the high frequencies kind of taper off is at 3.5. I think they have it at 4. This just kind of gives how my brain likes to work and look at it. The range low and high give me my vertical axis, and I think that's just a comfortable size for how the audio fits. And I'm looking at the frequency spectrum from 20 hertz to 20K. So basically what this gives me is a very nice picture of what's happening with the audio. This little top line shows me kind of the frequencies that are hitting and peaking, and this is more of the RMS values of all those frequencies. So what I'm looking for, are there any big peaks or any deep valleys that maybe need to be addressed? So this track has already been mastered, and I mean, apparently the artists approve it, and this is cool, but if this were something new, I just got a fresh mix, I would maybe look to see why there is this dip here in the middle. Is there just not a lot of instruments in that range that have those characteristics there? As we could hear earlier, the track had a lot of just ambience, a very heavy weighted kick, and then a vocal. So the vocal is going to sit up here, then the kick down here, so there may not be a lot of mid-range instruments that need treatment up here. Has a nice gradual fall off, which I like, and this meter also tells me, hey, I mean, no doubt about it, the kick's hitting right here. And so if I need to bring a little more weight, I know that it's probably around 70 hertz. What's also cool about this meter is you can see that at the bottom here, I guess it switches between the bottom and the top, that it tells you what frequency you're at in the top left hand corner, and then it also tells you what note. So we can see it right here, it says F#2 and then plus 42 cents. So if there's a specific frequency in the bass that's maybe louder than the others, you can use this kind of crosshair to pinpoint exactly what it is, go into your EQ, and then adjust it. Also, if you click, it'll reset the meters. I think a really handy feature just in case something weird happened in the track and you want to just get a fresh look. The meters, I mean, are great too. I mean, they're pretty fast. It looks like they're digital weighting. So, but I think at least show you what's going on. As a correlation meter to look at phase. Also, it says, hey, there are no clippings. Great job, Troy. No clipping here. So, and it kind of gives us a guesstimate crest factor and RMS level. So again, with a free metering plugin, this gives us a ton of information. I think it's awesome. So, yeah, so there's Voxengo Span, one of the 3 metering plugins I use. Now, let's look at the Brainworks meter. I think it's really simple. I mean, I guess it gives us a fair amount of detail, but we can see our level here. It gives us our RMS level. Its RMS is similar to average, but we can kind of see like where the majority of the track is sitting. It's also letting us know that's peaking right at digital 0, so we're almost to clipping, but our limiter here is helping us out. What I think is really cool, it gives us our dynamic range. It tells us it's very similar to crest factor and what's the difference between the highest peak and the RMS at that given moment. And you can have the meters float with where the kind of the track is going, or you can have it stay still, just whatever kind of fits your needs. You can also have it in mid-side mode or link the stereo. You can also use a couple different filters to for the meter to read. So this isn't going to change what you're hearing, but it's going to change what the meter is going to read out at. So there's A weighting and C weighting, which people using on that Radio Shack meter to kind of tell you how loud things are. It's on more things than just a Radio Shack meter, but most people see it there. The K filter. And then you also can use CATS metering. This is developed by Bobcats, and it's encouraging people to shoot for different loudness levels. You can click here to reset, and you can also solo the filter, the left, right, mid, or side. So just gives you lots of very quick and easy ways to give yourself a different perspective of your audio. So I use this mainly to tell me if I'm peaking. I usually set my limiter threshold about negative 0.3 or negative 0.4 dB, sometimes 0.5 depending on the material. If it's really heavy hitting, I might set it a little bit lower. But this will tell me if I'm peaking, and also give me my RMS readout to see, okay, is this chorus too loud compared to the rest of the song, and what's going on there. So there's the Brainworks meter. Now my last one, called the VUMT Duo. They also have a VUMT Solo for if you want to run in mono, but it's basically an old school level meter with all with the VU ballistics, with the 300 millisecond rise and fall times, all of that. I think they did a really good job in making it very easy to use and simple. I mean, you can switch it to mid-side, stereo, you can link it just like we could with the Brainworks meter, but you also can have it in VU mode, which is more like your RMS levels, and PPM, which is your peaks. So, and you can set for each of these right here where it's calibrated. So if my PPM, I want it at 0, yep, almost, there we go. I can have my meters correspond. But since this track is kind of hitting 0 very quickly with the kick, it's not quite getting me the readout. But I usually use this in VU mode, and I like to operate negative 10. This track is mastered a little bit louder than I would do, but definitely not crushed by any means. But I feel like this is a pretty good place to be. I mean, I usually put at negative 10, hover around 0, maybe go a few dB in the latter parts over, but it just gives me a good, easy readout of what's going on. I like to use this to compare tracks across an album. I'll pick different spots that I know are loud and kind of flick back and forth, and I'll kind of hear if it sounds similar, but this will also confirm my suspicions if the meters are reading similarly. So it's a great plugin. The guy's in the UK. His name is Tony. I think I got this for $15. So I mean, I think it's a killer value for what you're getting. You also click and change the skins, which is pretty cool if you're into that. So I think metering can give you some great information. I know it's helped me a lot with some of my mastering sessions. Again, here's all of them. So I usually don't have them all at the same time because it takes up a lot of screen real estate, but just depending on what part of the process I'm focusing on, it can give me some great input. So I usually have the span up while I'm EQing. If I'm applying any compression, I'll have the Brainworks meter just to give me that dynamic range to see if I'm taking anything away from it with compression. And then with limiting, I'll usually have this calibrated to -10 and then just bring up, or I guess bring down the threshold of my limiter until I'm right in the range I like to be. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at michael@nkcmusic.net or comment on the blog. Again, thanks for watching, and really appreciate you. Have a good day.